Hi everyone. Welcome to the Lost Generation, outside of the mainstream. My name is William Hooker. I am a musician, poet, and part of this generation of artists. My goal with this podcast, which is being broadcast on its own YouTube channel and my website, williamhooker.com, is to introduce you to many of the musical artists that are outside of the mainstream and have made important artistic contributions to our culture. I have also interviewed producers of the music and many fans and supporters of this work. My guests are sharing what makes this art form unique and significant. I hope these conversations will inspire you to listen to the music, which may change you in the way you view music, which again is outside of the mainstream. Today, I'll be interviewing two fellow musicians. First, Jackson Krall, drummer and band leader, and immediately following will be Mark Hennon, pianist, composer, and band leader as well. I hope to be airing new interviews on the first of each month. We are presenting these interviews, and we have so many amazing interviews coming up that you will be hearing in the future. This is the Lost Generation, outside of the mainstream. This is a story that needs to be told.
William, thank you.
Jackson, obviously, this is a pleasure for me. Fellow drummer. This is Jackson Krall. Jackson, will you tell us in 3 or 4 sentences about yourself, who you are, anything you want to say?
Well, I think my main identity in life is being a drummer, like you. And so I do that, and I've kind of organized my life from very early on around that endeavor. And here I am, a young senior, and I'm still doing it, and it's still, it's a pleasure to be a survivor, don't you think also, that, after all the time and effort and years of applying a lot of energy to one's art, that one can, still be enjoying it. And
Elaborate on that.
Well,
The survival aspect. Elaborate on that.
I think,
in terms of us as a generation.
well, we've seen a lot of people come and go,
Thank you.
And a lot of great people come and go, and we're still here. We understand the importance of trying to further the art of music, the art of drumming, the art of everything that we do.
I love it. Yeah.
So so it's I get a lot of pleasure out of that, just out of being here. Basically.
What have you had to do to survive? Well, I mean, in a nutshell, in terms of the last 40 years of your life, to be able to play this music, what have you had to do? Right.
Well, I've never made a living playing the music, like most actually. Although there's a few of our cohorts that are able to, and. But I've done, all the grunt work that people do, to survive. I drove a taxi cab for a number of years. I've been a painter, done painting, house painting and apartment painting. I did moving work for 20 years, probably.
Okay.
My own truck and a crew of guys, and we, moved anything. All around the city and beyond. And I've made instruments.
Wow.
You know, all of these other things were to support my wanting to try to make a living as a musician, and as an instrument maker. Primarily, I wanted to be a drummer. I came to New York to be a drummer, and but that's part of being a musician, and music and drumming are arts. But I also wanted to involve myself in the craft aspect of making instruments.
Wow. Where did you come from? You said you came to New York.
Oh, well, I started in Detroit. I was born in Detroit.
Okay.
And at the age of 7, my family moved to Wisconsin, suburban Milwaukee. And I lived in Wisconsin, and moving from Milwaukee to Madison by the time I was in high school. And then I left Madison for the East Coast in 1971 when I was 21 years old.
Did you know Mark then?
I knew Mark Hennon, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Out there?
Out there, yeah. We went to different high schools, and I'm a year older than Mark. But I remembered, I used to see him around at
Were you the oddballs in your high school?
Well, I know I was. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I can't speak for Mark.
Because you both eventually wind up playing this music.
Yeah. No, in a way, I always kind of felt like the oddball because of the music, because I was the only one that liked jazz or was into it with any depth.
I hear you.
You know, I was the only one. I had a few friends that understood my affliction, you know, but they didn't participate like I did, kind of, you know. But Mark worked at a music store in Madison, and my mother worked there also. She did like bookkeeping and office work at this Ward Bratz Music.
Okay. From Madison, though, where did you go?
From Madison, I left Madison in '72 and moved to Boston to go to music school. You know, I had been seeing those ads in the music magazines for Downbeat.
Okay.
Not for Downbeat, but in Downbeat.
Okay.
For Berkeley.
Sure.
You know, and Quincy Jones. You remember those ads with Quincy Jones?
I think I remember.
You know, and that was enough for me. Yeah, you know, because I love Count Basie as a younger guy.
Okay.
You know, so I saw Quincy Jones there, and I said, okay. And he was their prop for the ad for Berklee College of Music back in the late 50s, early 60s.
When did the music hit you?
Very early on.
As we know, the music.
Yeah.
When did you say, I'm free
Well,
in this music?
the music of jazz.
I don't want the whole history.
You don't want the history,
I want to know when.
Because I started
when
the
you
history.
heard.
I start with the history of jazz, basically.
I do too. I started with
Yeah.
African. I started with gospel. I started way back. But there was a certain point when I heard my Earth Mother, and I know exactly what happened. I know exactly what happened, and I realized I'm free. I'm free. There's this, and all of a sudden, I went like that, and then I realized something else is going on. Did that happen to you? Or how?
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
that happen?
This brings me to Coltrane, basically, to John Coltrane.
I got you.
Because I had been, you know, loving all kinds of jazz and black music. And I was an avid reader of Downbeat and of any book I could get my hands on that he talked about, you know, it was a biography or the history of the music or whatever. You know, I wanted to know that information, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'd been reading about Coltrane a lot in Downbeat, and I was maybe a little familiar with some of his earlier work, you know, but now he had become very controversial by the mid-1960s. And So he
Why
came.
was he controversial?
Well, the music he was
Because
playing.
a lot of people have looked
Yeah.
at this might not know
Yeah,
why.
no, well, he was controversial because he was playing with total abandonment of all of the usual, one's idea of what music is, in fact, or jazz particularly, you know, but music in general. He threw it all to the wind, kind of, and he was making another statement. He was making a statement beyond the statements that anybody else was making at the time, basically, which I didn't really come to understand until I heard him play. Quartet came to Madison and played at the University of Wisconsin in a small theater, intimate little theater in the student union, the old student union. And
They were playing the music.
they were playing the music. It was John Coltrane with Rashid Ali and Alice Coltrane and Jimmy Garrison, and Pharoah Sanders was there also, you know, kind of sitting in and
That must have turned
participating.
you around.
So it did, yes. That was a game changer, as they say.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that was, and most of the audience left, by the way.
Now, to that statement, I want to ask you a question, and I want to see how you feel about this question. Take it any way you want. And my question is this: why is it that a wider audience cannot identify with the music coming out of this particular branch of the tree that we are on, which is post Cecil Taylor, Sun Ra, and Coltrane? Why is it that this wider audience, because you were obviously in with people, they didn't just bring them there, you know, at a university, you
Right,
know.
exactly.
I mean, it wasn't like 5 people in the audience.
No, this was the intellectual, as I've said before, the cream of the crop of the intellectual community from the university, you know, and they couldn't get with it. They were angry because they wanted to hear, you know, and they wanted, and this, they didn't understand it, even though, you know, this is.
Why didn't they understand? I mean,
People get very set in their ways of the way things are supposed to be according to them, you know.
Lord, Jackson, I love it.
Well, yeah, and so now Madison is not necessarily different than any other place, but it is different, and it's north of Chicago, and there's a very strong blues affinity in Madison. People in Madison are crazy about the blues, Chicago blues, you know, and if you go there and they're playing some blues, they might come and tell you, you're not playing the blues, you know, because according to them it's not the blues, you know, even though
I got you.
It might be, you know, or somebody will come and say, that's not jazz.
Okay.
And that's what they were saying that night when John Coltrane came. They said, that's not jazz.
Wow.
And they left. And that, if they would have said it in the way that I just said it, they would have been, you know, been being kind. But many people were not kind on the way out the door.
And you just really think that the basic reason why they're not kind is because they just are set in their ways? Do you believe that has to do with it? As the main thing.
Well, you know,
They're used
we
to
have
one thing.
we have to think of the times also that we're in back then, in the '60s, and
They still say the same thing now.
about the music, about the
About
same.
us.
Yeah.
About us.
Well, here's the other thing.
To my-
So this is
Yeah,
1966 that I'm talking about.
I hear that.
But in 1964, when I bought an album on sale, Max Roach. +1, Max Roach 4+1, I think, or something. And I was playing that, and some older folks heard me playing it, and they looked at me and they said, "You like that music?" You know, and this was music that conceptually was already 20 years old in 1964.
Okay.
You know, and yet they couldn't get with it. So now here we are today, playing a music that is conceptually 25, no, I mean 50 years old.
Thank you.
50 years old, conceptually, and people are still having a very hard time with it. I had a wonderful concert recently, though, with our friend William Parker. It was his band. It was Daniel Carter, Cooper Moore playing piano, and Steve Swell playing trombone. And we did a concert up in Newburgh, and it was very successful. And we had a broad range of people there.
Why?
They loved it.
Why was it successful?
Well, you know...
But separate from the fact that
we somehow reached
music.
them. We somehow reached them. They had also been prepared a little bit by Ben Young, who spoke first, and he kind of prepped the audience a little bit, you know, and opened them up, made people relax, I think, a little bit, to be open to new things, you know, to come with an open mind, basically, and they were able to do that. The musicians the group, we all have credentials, you know, we're not kids.
That's why you're sitting at this table.
Yeah, we have credentials, and we've been around for a long time, you know, and it's not like we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
You know, so I think we do what we do very well.
Right.
We all do, by this point in time.
Right.
You know, we've been working on it for a long time, and people understand that. Just like with Coltrane, when I heard Coltrane play, I didn't know what he was doing.
I like that.
It was difficult,
Yeah.
what he was doing. When people left, I moved right down front.
Right.
And I soaked it in, but it was brutal. You know, it was almost like getting beat up by the music. You know?
Whoa.
It was.
Really?
He was making a heavy statement.
Up next will be my interview with Mark Hennon, pianist, composer, and band leader.
All right, so Mark, my first question, as I said before, you're a master musician, and there are many other master musicians on their instruments as well. Now, how does it make you feel that musicians that are not as good or as masterful are hailed as great in other genres of music?
Well, I don't know that it's something I've dwelt on, but they have their own genre, and there's a different, it's different for them, whatever they're doing. Their standards are theirs, and I think that a lot of times other genres get more airplay and more respect and whatever, just on the mere fact that they maybe do a better job of marketing. And that's my thought on that.
Better thought of Mark. Better. Okay. All right. I can understand that. What are you trying to achieve musically and personally with your music when you sit down to play?
I'm always looking for the change, for something new to happen, and to explore the sound and the rhythm that can be created in this infinite sea of music.
Mm-hmm. And you're looking at that both for yourself and for the music itself, or how is that for you? I mean, how you perceive that?
Well, yeah. I mean, sure. It's about the music, but it also informs me, and it keeps my spirit up, and keeps. So it's a little bit of both, I guess.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Why do you think that what we've done deserves respect and recognition?
Well, it's a very valid art form. It really speaks for an entire generation of people.
Hello.
It's something that if you give it a chance, you will most definitely learn from and be inspired by it.
Yeah, that definitely is. That definitely is it. That is it. Now I'm going to ask you like a few different people. I got these cards here, and if I say their name, you tell me how you feel. Something musically that they contribute, and how you perceive their music, basically. So I'll just give you a name of the person, and you just run it by us rather. Okay. Do you know Claude Lawrence? You don't know Claude Lawrence. All right, well, I do know you know Louis Bellagines.
Sure.
Tell me something about his music, or the way you perceive his contribution to this music.
Well, Louis is a very inspirational musician, and he's got a wonderful tone and he's a great craftsman, and he's really worked on honed his skills, and he's got a lot to offer, a lot of different tonality and color and sound. He's a great player.
How long have you played with him? Do you remember, like, when you first ran into him? Or?
Gee, William, I think I performed with him first in a group with you, but I don't
Wow.
remember. I don't remember exactly which performance that was, but that's my recollection.
Oh, you try another one. Ellery Escalante.
Sorry.
You don't know Ellery. I know his work that well. Matt Shipp.
Oh, I enjoy Matthew's music very much. He's a strong player. And he's played with a lot of great people. He has a very interesting style that's unique, and he can really bring out a lot of different tonality and color, and he's got a great, rhythmic sense. I enjoy his compositions as well.
Yeah. How would you? Yeah. That's great. Great. How would you say his compositions differ from the ones that you have written yourself?
Well, he's doing his own thing. I think both of us probably composed from the piano, and but we have different styles, and so that I think is probably what makes the difference right there. It's just the different style of piano playing that we both do. It's within the same genre, but definitely different style.
Let's try. I have down here Jerry Hemingway.
I don't know Jerry that well. I've seen him perform a few times, and I enjoyed his playing. I haven't performed with him or anything, but I do enjoy hearing his playing. He's very much full of rhythm. He's got a lot of rhythm.
I got you. Masahiko Kono.
Strong player. I haven't heard him in a few years, but I remember him. I used to perform with him. And
Trombone.
He would, Masahiko, and he can really make a statement. He can set up a solo and
Beautiful.
do a great job.
Yeah, I hear you.
Making a statement.
Because you've known him for a long time, I would think.
Yes, I
When
have.
you first ran into him.
Sure.
Right, and you and I both have, like, I guess, you know, we run into him every once in a while, and then we don't see him for like years.
Yeah.
And then he emerges again, you know, and that's what I find interesting about many of the players that we know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see them for a long time, long periods of time,
And they reemerge.
and they reemerge.
Sure.
After,
Yeah.
and they show us, for me, Mark, they showed me that they survived,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Sure.
All right, so dealing with survival in terms of the way you feel about survival and playing this music, tell us a little bit about what you had to do to survive and to keep this wonderful, beautiful place you have going. You have this up.
Well, that's a whole long story there. But
Well,
I did when I first
encapsulate
came
it a little bit.
when I came to New York. I really didn't have too many skills that I could sell, and I learned how to tune pianos, and then eventually repairing and regulation, and I've done that for 40 years now.
Uh-huh.
And along the way, we came up with this law. This goes back to 1977, where we're sitting right now.
Uh-huh.
And I had two partners. One of them was Jamil Moondock
Wow.
and Sam LaBelle. We had a little piano shop up here. We did performances and bought and sold pianos and did piano servicing.
And you all lived in this space?
No, we didn't live together.
Okay.
I actually had a floor below where I had my living space, but eventually we couldn't afford both spaces, and so I lived here alone, and then we had the piano shop and the performance space. And eventually it's been more of a living space.
I hear you.
It's, we're still doing concerts here. And,
Uh-huh.
a lot of music happens here.
Now, I know Jamil, but who's the other individual you mentioned?
Sam LaBelle, he plays the reeds. He played in Cecil Taylor's ensemble. I met him back in Madison, Wisconsin.
Is he still alive?
Yes, he is.
Wow, is he still in New York City?
No, he's in Boston.
He's in Boston?
Maybe we can get an interview with him too.
That'd be great. That'd
Sure.
be great. Yeah.
He's got a lot to say.
So what would you say in terms of, like, I know you've done a lot of work with Jamil, I know that. What would you say about Jamil and his approach to this music?
Well, he's got a unique sound, and he's got kind of an angular kind of a way of playing music. I enjoy very much playing with him because we use a lot of room for the piano to work and for us to work together. And well, anyway, he's one of the great players, and he's got some very strong compositional skills, and
Wow.
does a great job.
Wow, all right, then, yeah, I would agree. I would
Yeah.
agree. I really would. He takes it to another, definitely
Yeah.
to another place. You know Ray Anderson?
Yeah, I know a little bit. I don't know him personally. I know.
You played him? You played?
No, I don't think we ever played together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of. I've got down here Butch Morris.
Well, we're all gonna miss Butch.
Uh-huh.
He was very talented man with all kinds of. He had a lot of different projects and talents and skills, and he had that what did they call that?
Conduction.
Conduction.
Did you play with him? Did you play with him when he was a trumpet player?
No, I hadn't played with him.
Huh.
But of course we know his music lives on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How long did you do music with him?
No, I didn't. I did
You
not
didn't?
play. No.
You didn't?
Didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know this? Do you know Bruce Eisenbiel?
Yeah.
Guitarist.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I met him through you. I don't have.
Oh,
I
I
don't
hear
know
you.
if that's one I can work with.
I hear you. I hear you. The other individual I was really thinking of was, I've got a number of people. I've got some people I don't know if you know them. You know Michael Marcus?
No.
You don't know him? Mario Pavone, you work with him?
No.
He's a Connecticut person who comes into place. Zane Massey?
No.
You don't know him? Okay. I'm going to hit you with the Hardwoods. And I want you to tell me something about their music, this individual's music, because that obviously is important to both of us. Rashid Bakar.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, Rashid and I go way back. We go back to the time when we started in this loft and before.
Okay.
I think we did that recording in 1976, Ensemble Mum 2, first CD. And Rashid was in that band, but that band, you know, we had done some performances before we did the recording as well. I remember we performed at Damrush Park at Lincoln Center, and that was probably 75 or 76.
Really?
Yeah. Could have been even earlier.
How did you do that? Because
we booked it. We brought my little piano. I brought this piano from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we I don't know, we may have even brought it down the stairs in order to be able to do the gig. But we got it to Lincoln Center, and we had a performance right there on the Damrush Park stage.
At the show.
Yeah. So Rashid and I go way back, and he has a great sound, and he's unique, of course, and he's now Charles Downs.
That's
So,
his
yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played with him recently?
No, I haven't. I've been in contact. He had an accident with a cab, and so he was in rehab, rehabilitating his arm. I think was injured. So, but he's coming back, as far as I know.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. And hopefully we'll get his number, and we'll both have the opportunity to talk to him audio.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mark, it's always a pleasure to be around you. You have a great spirit, Mark. You have a great spirit. We've been to some stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in. In months ahead, you will have the opportunity to hear from many more Lost Generation artists and supporters. The audio-only version is available wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to hear upcoming episodes.